生命闪耀吧！献给你们，
谢谢。
Good morning, everybody. Greetings and salutations. Larsen Live. It is almost the new year. It is 12/28/2024. We opened up with the Seikilos Epitaph, an ancient Greek song set to modern music. Seikilos Epitaph, sorry. Is it part of the Odyssey? No, it's not. However, it is ancient Greek lyre strumming and hemming and hawing, and it seemed more or less relevant, considering that people are showing themselves to be staggeringly ignorant about Homer's magnum opus. But before we get to that, there's a bunch of other terrible shit that keeps me awake at night that we have to talk about. So let's get right to it. Okay, first of all, with the impending, non-consecutive Trump term, there's been a bit of controversy going on about H-1B visas. And I think we should talk about that. Pony Throat says he got in a couple minutes late and you missed it. Well, I mean, if you like listening to ancient Greek lyre music sung by a bunch of antsy theater kids, you missed out, sir. I apologize for that. Anyway, I'm going to assume that there's not a huge amount of viewers because we're all getting busy for the new year, because we're all just social butterflies. I mean, if you listen to this stream, you are just an absolute man about town, right? Correct. Anyway, yeah, let's talk about H-1B visas and one of the several reasons I want to slam my head through the wall. Okay. Incoming, muckety-muck something or other in the Trump administration, Vivek Ramaswamy had some interesting things to say about the American people. His barely veiled loathing and contempt for the American people is quite obvious. He says that our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long. That doesn't start in college, it starts young. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World or Zach and Slater over Screech and Saved by the Bell or Stefan Urkel over Steve Urkel in Family Matters will not produce the best engineers. Dare I say, I think Mr. Ramaswamy is projecting a little bit about his own high school days, but, who am I to judge? He says, We need more math tutoring and fewer sleepovers, more science competitions, fewer Saturday morning cartoons, more books, less TV, more movies like Whiplash, fewer reruns of Friends. Okay, this can be our Sputnik moment. Normality does not cut it in a hyper-competitive global market for technical talent. If we tend like it does, we will have our asses handed to us by China. This is the work we have cut out for us. You know, as a teacher myself, I do say that, yes, we do let a lot of, idiot brat kids slide. I definitely do think we need some more academic vigor to an extent. But the more you read this, the more I have to pick it apart a little bit. First of all, I like how his, cultural touchstones that he uses to talk to all of America are like 90s TGIF sitcoms. I don't know, is that the last time that Mr. Ramaswamy was in fact in touch with popular culture? I don't know. Secondly, we're going to have our asses handed to us by China. Dare I say that China is not, in fact, opening the borders to millions of, H-1B immigrants from every corner of the earth. Dare I say China invests in its own technical talent. Like America used to do. Need I remind you that several of America's greatest engineers and inventors were, butt-fuck, fly-over nowhere kids. People like Neil Armstrong, Thomas Edison, Norman Borlaug, Mary Rogers, R.W. Wood, and so on and so forth. But what did those people ever do? William Shockley, Fred Terman, Bill Gates, and so on and so weiter. Also, we need more movies like Whiplash. Did you... I hate to bring up media literacy, but that is some staggering media illiteracy, sir. Did you watch the same movie I watched? Because the Whiplash movie that I watched was about a young man driving himself to madness and ultimately destroying himself for the sake of his, hyper niche art. Yes, he does become a truly great jazz drummer. He also ruins his relationship with his girlfriend, with his family. He literally breaks his own hands. He gets into a severe car accident. He ruins everything for the sake of one very specific craft. Now, Whiplash resonated with me because I do have those tendencies towards, single-minded mania. And that's a problem I have. Yes, when I have truly, dedicated my time to something, I will spend hours, doing it. It could be something like juggling or writing a song or doing muscle-ups or something like that. This hyper-competitive striving ethos was being criticized by Damien Chazelle and Miles Teller. But apparently, Vivek Ramaswamy saw the movie and was like, yeah, we need more of that. Boy, that's a pretty stupid take, sir. Okay, Ponythroat says, basically, Ramaswamy is saying, damn it, Chad. Yes, he is. He's, when he mentions, the prom queen and the football jock, dare I say, Mr. Ramaswamy is, like many other, subcontinental men, venting his barely closeted rage about how, Stacy Cornbread and Susie Sue, the cheerleaders, wouldn't go out with him. And, I understand the resentment, sir. I was a dweeb in school myself. But, come on, man, you're a middle-aged man. You gotta get over this at some point. I don't, sit around longing for, some jailbait cheerleader that I didn't screw in high school. Ponythroat then says he's not living up to the tribunal member he shares a name with. Damn you, sir, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to make several jokes about, the Morrowind Tribunal, the Vardenfell, or is it Vardenfell Tribunal, the Almstevie. I mean, to be fair, he is holding up better than either Sotha Sil or Almalexia. As we all remember, Almalexia murdered Sotha Sil and then went mad with power. But anyway, they all kind of had it coming since they all betrayed Lord Nerevar during, the campaign against Dagoth Or thousands and thousands of years ago. But yes, he is saying, damn you, Chad, I hate you, Chad. Yeah, you have to realize a lot of identity politics in America is basically a bunch of, dare I use the vulgar term, brown people imagining some, square jawed, blonde haired, Biff Thundercock Chad quarterback guy and then spending their life hating that guy, regardless of whether or not he existed. Ponythroat says, I bet this guy was menaced and teased for allegedly smelling like curry, but cliched by cliched high school boys who had names like Skid and Bump instead of actual names. Yeah, Biff and Chad and Bulk and Skull and those high school bullies. Ponythroat then says, imagine breaking your hands for J. Jonah Jameson. Yes, hey, he had a goal of making a great musician. He was going to achieve it no matter what. Now, to be fair, when I teach some of my crappy music students, I too want to throw cymbals at their heads, but I restrain myself. Shinseki Evans says, I'm supposed to believe in India nerds are popular and pretty athletic people are untouchables. I mean, yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with that because as much as they try to deny it, and oh Lord, they do try to deny it, India is in fact extremely classist and dare I say racist as well, with caste-based discrimination basically running rampant. I mean, I've seen those documentaries about mud wrestling, and I'm sure those guys don't get picked on that much. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Like, you look at the Bollywood stars; they're all pretty, dare I say, Indo-European looking. Ponythroat says, and then Vivek was killed to fill a soul gem with the highest value soul in the game for enchanting. I never actually killed Vivek. I do bear some sympathy for the man, or the dark elf. Ponythroat says he is Raj Maxing from Big Bang Theory, Zimbabwe. Yes, sorry, Bazinga, Zimbabwe. Fruity, delicious Skittles. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. As much as I do dump on the United States, my country, and I do dump on it a lot, I do resent the notion that the entire nation is full of just untrainable retards who can't do jobs. And bear in mind that the people being brought in for H-1B visas, these are not all doctors and brain surgeons and computer techs. Trending on Twitter now is numerous job applications where they're literally only taking H-1Bs for things like truck driving and line cooks and male strippers. I'm sorry, are there no Americans who are willing to do male stripping or short order cooking? I have my doubts personally. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I did spend several years in poverty, and I did do absolutely miserable shit jobs to work my way out of it. I'm sorry, I am a born American citizen. I carried and moved furniture. I did people's laundry. I did construction. I worked in kitchens. I washed dishes. I refuse to believe that this entire country is just really lazy and stupid, just out of the blue. Now, yes, there are a lot of people who do that. I see that in my teaching. But maybe you could, I don't know, engender that work ethic if you, offer higher wages and push people into it. And, I'm just going to go on a limb here. I would say that the archetypical American man, or the ideal American man, is a jock nerd. A nerd and a jock. A guy who is very smart but can also kick your ass. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, John Glenn, Theodore Roosevelt. They were all jock nerds. There does not have to be a dichotomy. And, it's good to be academic. yes, I think a little bit more academic vigor or rigor should be used and should be done in this country. But you can't, like, we don't want to turn this country into just a bunch of soulless, worker drones just studying all the time. That's not cool either. You know, I would argue that, like, America's golden age was from, like, around 1918 to about 1970 or so, when we literally invented personal computers and satellites and all this. And yes, I know about Sputnik. You don't need to remind me. And television and all these things, and the video and all that. We didn't need hundreds of millions of people from the subcontinent coming in here. Just saying. Might I suggest a compromise? Might I suggest you do an extra hour or two of academics a week? Then you let your kids go outside and play, to develop social skills and strong bodies and, quick thinking. The way this country used to be, damn you. And this does basically tie into, the failure of education, hence why people don't know the Odyssey, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Incidentally, I think a major reason that you could improve academics in this country is if you talk about the past, science and academics in this country. I mean, I certainly wasn't taught in school that the United States produced the most Nobel Prize winners of any country on earth. Even if you took away the immigrants, we'd still, have more than anyone else. I was not taught that in school. Maybe if you teach that in school, the children will be inspired to be in that line of American inventors and pioneers and, engineers and academics. Or, we could just, sit around whacking off and just opening the borders to everybody who wants to come in. Because that's how you make a country great, when you have to compete with the entire planet for a halfway decent job. Ponythroat says, Larsen moved those refrigerators, color TVs, and installed those microwave ovens. I mean, yeah, when I was doing moving, the only injury I got in my moving company job was a refrigerator. There was like a metal edge, and it basically cut my bicep open pretty good. I still have a scar on it. But never mind that. Oh, but apparently I'm an American, so I think I'm too good to move furniture or be a brick hottie. I say sarcastically because I did all those things and more. Robert Leonard says, to become an astronaut, Howard Wolowitz from The Big Bang Theory would have had to be in pretty decent shape. Yes. Ponythroat says, he doesn't think I got that reference. No, I didn't. Please explain, sir. Shinseki Evans says, Dennis Prager used to say that American students are taught a proctologist view of America. Yeah, I think that's pretty true. And obviously, we don't need to whitewash history. America's only guilty of wrongdoing. And, we should talk about the bad stuff. But I've always said, if America should talk about its wrongdoings, and I think we should, every other country should also do the same. Because there's a lot of countries in the world that have a lot more blood on their hands than ours, but they refuse to talk about that. Robert Leonard says, the oldest depictions of Krishna had him pretty Dravidian dark. If I recall correctly, he was blue. Oh, yeah, he just said so. They switched to a light blue Krishna for some reason. Yes, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert on Hinduism. But, yeah, then basically the thread was just full of endless pictures of, Vivek Ramaswamy as a high schooler being laughed at by, Susie Sue, the cheerleader. And, I don't know if that's like, I don't know if that's true, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Certainly, that there are many, many subcontinentals who have basically explicitly said so. And again, I can't judge per se. I mean, I certainly wasn't sleeping around with Susie Sue myself. But You can't live your life just directed by sexual resentment. I don't know, because I try to convey to all my students and the people in my life that you don't need to be a jock or a nerd. I am a nerd jock, and everybody should do the same. Pointy Throat says, reference to the song Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. I am ashamed to admit that I'm only familiar with the song due to Weird Al Yankovic's Beverly Hillbillies themed parody of the song. Excuse me 1 second. I'm going to go get some water. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. Kids love that water. So, yes, TLDR. Vivek Ramaswamy bears deep, bitter resentments about his high school days, and he's taking it out on the dwindling remains of white America now that he has the opportunity to do so. Not to be outdone, Elon Musk basically says, yeah, you're all a bunch of fucking retards and we need to bring in infinite H-1Bs. Boy, it's good to see the mask is off. And, I love living in a country that, like, everybody in the planet just sees as a pay piggy to be exploited endlessly. Everybody just sees America as a resource that can be exploited at will. Just a big, side of pork hanging from a hook that you can just slice some meat off at all times. Boy, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Oh, but if the stonk line goes up 0.1%, it's all worth it. People are just interchangeable widgets. Hurdy. I still can't get over the fact that, like, he's referencing fucking Family Matters to talk about, like, why this country sucks. Excuse me, sir. Steve Urkel had Stefan Urkel inside him all along. And he also turned himself into Black Bruce Lee a couple of times. Actually. Fucking people. Boy, it's a. Also, you know what I love? I love getting just double teamed by people criticizing America from two, mutually exclusive points that somehow go together. And on the one hand, you have Europeans making fun of us. You work too long. You don't have the work-life balance. We have more vacation time than you. On the other hand, you have this Indian guy saying, like, "Oh, you're shit. You're too lazy. You don't work enough. You got to work 80 hours like me." America cannot be lazy and stupid, but also work too much and not, have quality of life. It can't be both those things. You got to have one or the other. Doesn't make any sense. And yes, I am angry about this. I am angry that my birthright was sold off before I was born. And I am angry that growing up in the 90s, there was, like, still just a little few scraps of, like, the old good America, and then just it went to shit completely. Before anybody says, some crap, yes, I'm aware of segregation, things like that. That was, like, the one big problem America had, and yeah, we fixed that, but we ruined everything else instead. Yeah, things are so much better now. Ponythroat says Vivek is actively importing NWAs. Yes, he's a bit of a fetcher, isn't he? Yeah, fucking. Yeah, You damn stupid American pigs. You were tainted by reruns of Boy Meets World. Yeah, I'm sorry, Vivek. I couldn't get my computer science degree. I was too busy staring at Topanga's, giant heaving titties. Damn you, Topanga. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to like '90s TV crushes, I'm gonna go for one of the Kellys, either Kapowski or Bundy. To be quite honest, out of curiosity, if Vivek and Elon Musk do set up their Doge department, like the government efficiency department, I might take a job as the ghostwriter for Vivek's like passive aggressive emails towards Stacy Cornbread, the cheerleader, which I'm sure he sends every night. Yeah, I could ghostwrite some pissy emails about the cheerleaders who rejected you, sir. Also, I just realized, Vivek's whole Twitter post is literally just a more verbose, slightly better written version of the, when you were partying, I studied the blade. That copy pasta. Yeah, Vivek is basically like, fuck, let me open this. I mean, I know we've all seen it, but I gotta open this up here. Give me 1 second here as I fumped her around. Okay, let's see. While I do this, Shinseki Evans says everything went to shit after 9/11. Yeah, it sure did. Pony Throat then says it's probably the longest single topic in Larsen stream's history. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, like I told my wife last night, at pretty much any given point, I'm stewing in like a, mild, like slow burning rage about the state of this country. And yeah, I guess now I have an opportunity to talk about it. Yes, I do want to, at some distant point in the future, I do want to run for public office and try to unfuck this country a little bit. So yeah, wish me luck on that whenever I do it. So yeah, this is basically Vivek right here. He was studying the blade while Corey and Zach Morris were partying. When Stefan Urkel was having premarital sex, he mastered the blockchain. And while Chad Thundercock was at the gym in pursuit of vanity, he cultivated inner strength. And now that the world is on fire and the barbarians are at the gate, you have the audacity to come to him for help? I'm sorry I doubted you, Vivek. Okay, yeah, so that's all I got to say about that. I mean, I could just like talk more about how the siren song, Topanga's bosoms like ruined America, but I'm not going to do that. Boy, this also should have been the title topic, but nonetheless, let's talk about how else this country's going to shit. I was going to talk about this last week, but yeah, I guess I'm going to talk about this now. So, in response to the Luigi Mangione shooting of Brian Thompson, the guy who's not the actor, New York State is considering creating a special hotline exclusively for CEOs to report perceived threats. So it's basically 912 from The Simpsons. It's like the super secret, hotline for CEOs when large eyebrowed Italian men try to murder them. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I still can't be asked to like have too much remorse about Brian Thompson there. I mean, that might affect more change than, Vivek's, pissy anger about, like, girls not going out with him in high school. But yeah, let's do some positive news now. The United States may have a shitty government, and it may be run by people who actively hate the American citizens, but the Vespa japonica, the giant murder hornets, have officially been wiped out in the United States, say officials. Yeah, so at least we can do something. At least we can wipe out invasive species. Unless this is all an elaborate plan on the part of the bugs to lull us into a state of security. Just like Starship Troopers said, we did our part. I mean, it's not like the United States is short on very horrible biting, like, insects. I mean, we got fire ants and, cow ants and things like that. But, yeah, the murder hornets are dead. I guess we can be happy about that. Let's see what else we got going on here. Let's see. Now that we're on the topic of zoology, let's stay on that for a bit. Some other people got some wins today. A sex-addicted tortoise officially retires from having sex. He fathered 800 children and saved his species from extinction. Let's read more about this story. Yes, Diego, the Galapagos tortoise, the father of hundreds and the savior of the Galapagos tortoise species. His reproductive efforts, kept the species alive, and he's been moved to an uninhabited island. Yes, he's been put out to pasture. I guess you can't say put out to stud because he's already been doing that. Yeah, so National Park Minister Paulo Peruano says, "We are closing an important chapter. 25 other tortoises are going back home after decades of reproducing and saving the species from extinction." Okay. The uninhabited island, Española, welcomed them with open arms, he says. He's 100 years old, Diego. And, yeah, he did a good job. He's the patriarch of at least 40% of the tortoise population. He did his duty, and, we're all very happy for him. Good on you, sir. He had a short stay in the San Diego Zoo, but then he came back home and just fucked up a storm. Diego the tortoise is about 175 pounds, and he is 5 feet tall if he stretches his neck up fully vertical. Good for you, sir. When he dies, I think they're gonna hang his shell up from the rafters, just like an old jersey or something. Incidentally, I once saw a video of a man interrupting a tortoise mating session. The male tortoise very slowly chased him, trying to take a bite out of him for interrupting his funky time. Ponythroat asking about the CEO, hotline says, how are they going to do that? They're going to call the hotline in the 5 seconds between hearing "Hey, paisanos" from a dark alley and then getting 2 in the dome. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the number is. I mean, obviously, I'm not a CEO. Like, if I mean, it better be 912 because it's gonna be too long. That otherwise, it's just gonna be Yeah, just in the dark alley out of nowhere. Then Luigi throws a blue shell at your head. And then you see nothing ever again. Let's see what else we got going here. Okay. Speaking of American news, I guess you could consider this good. Website Pornhub, a fine purveyor of artisanal pottery. What the hell do you think Pornhub does? Anyway, 13 U.S. states are going to not be allowed on from Pornhub. Florida, Arkansas, Idaho, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Montana, Mississippi, Nebraska, North Carolina, Texas, and Virginia. Now, bear in mind that the legislatures of those states just wanted Pornhub to, verify users to be over the age of 18 and make sure that the women on the videos are also over the age of 18. This is apparently such a blow to the business model of Pornhub, they decided that it would be better to just shut off completely. Because by God, we got to get 12-year-olds addicted to pornography. Just as a free speech absolutist, I'm in favor of keeping porn legal, but at the same time, it's not good. And the people who produce pornography should be treated like the goddamn, at best, necessary evil scumbags that they are. And of course, whenever people try to regulate pornography in the slightest, a legion of, goddamn baggy-eyed coomers are out here valiantly defending the pornography. No, not the porn. Society revolves around porn. Me. Yes, from Reddit. I'm the senior community manager for Pornhub and YouPorn. MindGeek loses money. Age verification devastates traffic. Pornhub stands to lose 50% of traffic. You think people are going to age verify? It costs us money to verify, and overall, it's a disaster. Yeah, that 5 seconds of verification, it's going to make all the difference. Oh no, just think of the porn. Also, incidentally, since I have, because I have no moral standards, I actually tried to invest in MindGeek, and they don't have an IPO. It is a totally privately held business. So you cannot profit off of, you know, terrible, terrible porn. Sorry. Ponythroat says, I hope Larsen is a man of enough culture to get the Hey Paisanos reference. Well, I did literally reference it 2 weeks ago, so yes. I, of course, got a reference to the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. I still say that the Brooklyn accent is the superior Mario voice. Shinseki Evans says, the sex industry should be legalized and also stigmatized. Yes, well said. It is a necessary evil, I feel. That includes pornography and strip clubs and prostitution and all that. It's a necessary evil, but it's still an evil nonetheless. It should be legal, but it should also be discouraged in society. Ponythroat says, to be fair, would you give your personal info to MindGeek? I suppose not. Alfamrigi says they're doing it for the grind. Yeah, that's one. That's a very interesting choice of words for a porn website. Pornhub will keep running even operates at a net loss. Well, of course, they've got to fundamentally alter society and make it shittier. Yeah, like I'm not saying we should ban pornography. Like I'm very much against the concept of banning pornography, but I'm also against the kind of normalization of it. All right, what else is going on? Let's see what we have. That's what I just opened up is a pop culture thing. We'll talk about that a little later. Let's see what we got here. Okay, speaking of Reddit, some more insanity from Reddit. Okay, a woman on Reddit posted that her husband insists that all straight men go on gaycations, where they must surrender mind, body, and soul to the gaycation. All right, so my husband sat me down and got this printed poster for some sort of orgy and explaining to me the concept of a gaycation. Straight men go somewhere with sun, sand, and booze and become gay for the duration of the trip, but they don't bring it home. What happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation. Okay? He swore up and down how he's not gay and he likes women and, of course, loves me and our sons. So, I accused him of being bisexual. He got very defensive. I need to drop the accusations, he said. That is the beauty of a gaycation. Straight men can experience gayness without being gay, and it's like going to an aquarium. He was adamant how he doesn't find men's bodies attractive, but he needs to experience this. He said, it's not cheating. That's the beauty of a gaycation. I can't put into words how surreal this was. He was speaking so matter-of-factly. He again insists this is a thing straight men do all the time. He's actually doing it a bit late in life. Yeah, I don't think so. I think if your husband books a gaycation to Ibiza and has sex with men, he's probably gay. Incidentally, just this past week, I was introduced to a friend of a friend who, is a woman with a baby, and then shortly after the baby was born, her husband just up and decided he was gay. Now, of course, I don't have anything against gay people, but I have to say, you should probably figure that shit out before you get married and impregnate a woman. Just saying. Like, you think you could figure that? You think you would figure that out by the time you're, 13 or 14, when you're going through puberty and you first experience, sexual thoughts. Like, like how I knew I was straight? Basically, when I was, 12 or 13 years old and I was discovering the magic of pornography for the first time, I eagerly leapt at the hetero porn of ladies. I instantly recoiled and revolted at the occasional pop-ups of gay porn. So I figured out pretty damn quick that I didn't like dudes. But some people apparently don't figure it out until they're well into their 30s. Let's look at some comments here. Ponythroat says, the Mario Brothers are a classic father and son duo. They're not father and son. Bob Hoskins was just twice the age of John Leguizamo. Alpha Marigi says, did you talk about the visa thing? Yes, I did. Narahari Kamath says, he is 100% gay. Yes. Ponythroat says, what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation, except for STDs. They follow you around. Well, I mean, one would hope that they would use condoms on the gaycation, but as we've seen, that's not a thing they do often. Ponythroat says, amazing troll job on his part to be fair. Yes. Shinseki Evans says, she should divorce that bundle of sticks. Yeah, he's a bundle of sticks, all right. Yes, ladies, if there are any ladies listening besides my wife, men don't do this. They are, in fact, gay, and that's okay. Also, I'm curious as to how a gaycation is like going to the aquarium. I mean, as far as I'm aware, you don't stick your dick into the fish at the aquarium unless you're Troy McClure, but that's a whole different issue. Somebody linked in the thread from metro.co.uk. Straight men in bromances kiss, cuddle, and stand around naked together. I don't think so. Anyway, I could see this being a very. I'm pretty sure there was like an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Mac basically went on a gaycation. But I digress. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. Oh, yeah, and finally, before we get to the silly side of things, kind of bridging the gap, YouTube says they will begin limiting access to fitness videos for European teenagers. Here's why. Yeah, it's a mystery why they're doing this. Do they, in fact, want, the sons of Arius to be weak and effeminate? Yeah, probably. I resent any, I reject any censorship as a matter of principle, but I also reject, anybody censoring, fitness exercises. Oh, and also they're in the United States as well because, you can't let the children be healthy. That would just be terrible. See, this ties back to the Vivek Ramaswamy thing because he resents, Chad Thundercock and, Biff Hardpeck, bullying him. If everybody's weak, it means he'll be like better by default. See, it all makes sense now. Biff Slankovich says, please don't curse so much. Well, sir, this is a adults stream where I talk about politics and such. And I don't think I used that much profanity, to be quite honest. Anyway, let's get to the silly side of things. Okay, let's talk about the title story finally. Yeah. So apparently, Christopher Nolan has announced that he's going to do a film adaptation of The Odyssey. And a lot of people are really under the impression that The Odyssey doesn't exist. Like they had never heard of The Odyssey. I was pretty stunned at this, considering that I had to read The Odyssey when I was like in 8th grade, and I'm sure many other American students had to as well. Let's see, okay, somebody was shocked that when they announced the Odyssey is being filmed, people had to look up what it is. The book is a retelling of an ancient Greek poem from 2,000 years ago. The journey from Troy to Ithaca takes Odysseus 10 years. On the way, he is met with huge storms and shipwrecks, giants, witches, sea monsters, etc. Dare I say, it's a pretty famous story, and the fact that you haven't heard about it is pretty damning, sir. Somebody says, I find it pretty suspicious that a man named Odysseus goes on an Odyssey. Oh my God. People are like, and people are saying like, Oh, this is American centric. Americans can't fathom the idea that there's a big gap between American and non American culture. They seem to think just because it's a book on their curriculum, everybody knows about it. I've never heard of it, TBH. TBH. Yes, the famous American work of literature, the Odyssey. I don't want to sound like a snob or anything, but yes, I do think I'm better than people because I know what the Odyssey is and I've read the Odyssey. I'm familiar with the rosy fingered dawn and the wine dark sea. I am familiar with Odysseus and Telemachus kicking the shit out of all the suitors of Penelope when they get home. And this isn't even getting into, you know, the numerous adaptations of the Odyssey, like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And The Simpsons. Alfred asked, did you talk about Sydney Sweeney posting a thirst trap in response to being called fat? No, I did not. And frankly, I did not plan on talking about that. Yes, breaking news. Woman who's famous for having giant bosoms posts barely clothed bosom pic. Surprise. Alfred then says, a story by Homer about a man going home. Yes, well said. I'm sorry, but how have you never heard of the Odyssey? At Jarvis Best says, I've crunched the numbers. In the amount of time it takes to read the Odyssey, you could watch the Sabrina Carpenter video where she makes out with Jenna Ortega 148 times. Yes. I mean, I am personally happy that we're seeing, ancient Greek stories being back in film. I grew up watching, Clash of the Titans and Jason and the Argonauts and such. Unfortunately, Ray Harryhausen is no longer with us, so he won't have, puppets and things. But I'm sure it'll be okay. Pointy says, isn't that the movie about space set in 2001? Yes, it is, sir. At HZ Joe says, the way people are acting around this book is insane. So what if I don't know what it is? Are you supposed to be aware of every single piece of literature? You know schools teach different things, right? I mean, it's not just a piece of literature, it's like one of the most referenced and cited works of literature in the history of the world. I mean, it's like saying, am I supposed to have heard of the Bible? Boy, like the schools suck. Like I told actually, I was just talking about this a couple of weeks ago in my class. We were talking about the Protestant Reformation in England. And I mentioned Shakespeare was a very famous non-theistic writer. When I was in high school, we had to read Shakespeare plays. They are not, in fact, reading Shakespeare plays in school anymore. And that's a shame. And then, of course, when people are talking about the Odyssey, people are hawking Emily Wilson's terrible, terrible translation of Homer. Tell me about a complicated man. Agamemnon, the cannibal king who eats people up. Yes, those are direct quotes from Emily Wilson's translation. And in case you're wondering, yes, Emily Wilson is a scowling schoolmarm who bases her entire life upon, resenting the popular kids in school. Okay. Valentinus of the Forest says, I don't think they're going to make another Simpsons movie. Indeed. Ponythroat says, isn't the repeated phrase pink fingered dawn, the wine dark sea a mnemonic to help remember the story and was not written down? Yes, it was. The Odyssey and other epic poems were transmitted orally, so they had little mnemonics to remember things. People forget that, the ancient poems were basically like freestyle rapping, essentially. And they had little phrases to kind of, repeat and go back to when they had to kind of remember things. Okay. See what else we got. Okay. In television news, Marvel's What If, Episode 4, Season 3, will center around the story in which Darcy Lewis, the character played by Kat Dennings in the Thor movies, will have a child with Howard the Duck. The child is Birdie, Byrdie, an original MCU character voiced by Natasha Lyonne. Okay, yeah. Well, Marvel Comics is very well known for having alternate universes to do experimental things. We could have had interesting things, but no, we're going to have Kat Dennings get plapped by a talking duck. Bravo. Gee, it's a mystery why, why people are losing interest in the MCU. Oh, apparently there was also a pitch where they were going to have a Captain America Rocketeer crossover, which that would have been nice, but instead we could have Howard the Duck, getting down. Okay. Alpha Marigi says, ruining Japanese vidya and anime was enough. These people have to ruin Greek epics too. Roundhouse kick localizers. Yes, I'm well in favor of that. Ponythroat says, the MCU has entered its dementia phase. Indeed. Yep, Darcy Lewis is getting down with Howard the Duck. Speaking of Kat Dennings, I don't even think Two Broke Girls would have made a joke about her fucking a duck. Alpha Marigi says, I feel like every adult comedy cartoon was forced to switch to films after 20 years, we would get better comedy, except with Aqua Teen. Yeah, I mean, I'm personally of the opinion that we need, like, adult cartoons that aren't just, raunchy comedies. I mean, raunchy comedies are cool, but, it's not all there is in life. Thank you, my love. My beautiful wife just brought me some coffee. Thank you. Anyway, speaking of shitty media, we go from TV to video games. Civilization 7 is coming out, and it looks like crap. There are prospectors hitting the griddy in Civilization. I mean, dare I say, like, Sid Meier wanted to do a Walter Houston reference, but or is it just them trying to appeal to like the dumbass kids who play Fortnite? And yes, I'm aware that Civilization always had a bit of a tongue-in-cheek edge to it, with nuclear Gandhi and Elvis impersonators in ancient Greece and stuff. But this ain't great. I haven't played a Civilization game since Civilization 5, and I think I should stick with that. It's a mystery why video games suck nowadays. Hey guys, here's Fortnite. This Rudy Tooty jump and shooty game. Let's put Mariah Carey in her Santa suit in it. Alpha Marigi says, I should have specified comedy, but if your action cartoon ran for 20 years, maybe you should have ended the story. Yes, I agree. I mean, I stand primal. I will always stand primal. Okay. What else we have here? Okay, in cinema news, sort of. What do we have? Okay, discussing film on December 17th talks about how Robert Rodriguez's Spy Kids was added to the National Film Registry because apparently this is culturally and historically important. It must be preserved for future generations. I see. I mean, it's hardly the worst you could put on there. I mean, there is some crap on the National Film Registry. Somebody put it best. Do you ever think about how Robert Rodriguez made a fun green screen, kiddie movie, and then 25 years later, every mainstream movie is just people farting around on a green screen? Yeah, a little bit. What little I remember from those films, which I was roped into watching not too long ago, was Steve Buscemi getting oddly existential in the second one. You think God avoids Earth because he himself fears his creation? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I suppose it is culturally significant in that basically every movie nowadays is just a bunch of people farting around on green screens. So good for Robert Rodriguez, I suppose. Ponythroat says, I built. Sorry, I played Civilization 2 with my brother once. He built the Great Wall Wonder and he put it in Berlin. I mean, the Berlin Wall was just pretty good at best. Ponythroat also says Shark Boy and Lava Girl in the National Film Registry when? Well, I assume that'll be next year, sir. I believe a movie has to be like 25 years old to be eligible for the National Film Registry. And I believe Shark Boy and Lava Girl came out 2004, so maybe in 2029. Valentinus of the Forest says, remember when video games were fun and challenging? Yes, I do dimly remember that. And yet, Conan the Barbarian is still not in the National Film Archives. Unless. Let me just look that up right now. Nope, still not there. Let's see. Oh, well, let's see. Angels with Dirty Faces. That's a good one. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Hell yeah. Beverly Hills Cop. Dirty Dancing. All right. It was a pretty good selection. 2024, I suppose. Okay. Let's talk about internet stupidity before we wrap things up here. Oh, and also The Simpsons, which get to that in a little bit. Let's see what. Okay. So, in internet stupidity, people are still really, really upset about Haley Welch's cryptocurrency scam. Haley Welch, the Hawk Tuah girl, apparently ran a crypto project that was accused of rug pulling. There is a class action suit. The token tanked 95%. The lawsuit arises from the unlawful promotion and sale of the Hawk Tuah cryptocurrency meme coin. Okay. Many of the investors were first-time cryptocurrency participants drawn to the project through Welch's involvement. The rapid decline of value caused substantial damage to investors who relied on her participation and the project's stated roadmap. Dare I say, if you're taking advice from somebody who became famous for talking about sucking cock, you really kind of deserve it. Like, you really brought it upon yourself. And it's a shame that I have to tell you this. Uh, again, the libertarian side of me is saying, like, caveat emptor, you deserve what you get. But at the same time, part of me is also like, should a country not protect, the weak and stupid to some extent? These are the philosophical conundrums. These are not easy answers. Narahari Kamath says, who puts money into these things? Really stupid people, sir. Ponythroat says, first type cryptocurrency investors. I think he means first time. Seems to be a code word for something. Yeah, stupid people is what it's. Sorry, stupid people is what it's a code word for. Ponythroat says, I'm glad I don't live in a world where 2005 was 20 years ago. Yeah, I also choose to live in a different reality from the one I live in. And finally, The Simpsons on Disney Plus or whatever it is released a new hour-long Christmas special. I didn't watch it, but I did watch a few clips, and oh my god, the voices are just horrendous. Marge sounds like Patty and Selma, because I'm pretty sure Julie Kavner is slowly dying. Harry Shearer just cannot do Flanders' voice anymore. He just sounds like Principal Skinner. And boy, this show really needs to die, like, a long time ago. I mean, just cancel the goddamn show. Like, fun fact, in the first season, Mr. Burns states that he's 81 years old. Harry Shearer is now older than Mr. Burns. This show needs to stop. It's not good. The show is embarrassing and needs to stop. Okay, so that does it for my prepared remarks. So I'll give you a couple minutes to say your last pieces now. Okay. Alpha Marigi says, protect the stupid because most people are stupid. Well, can most people, like, not be stupid? Ponythroat says, Marge sounds like Patty and Selma makes sense in lore. Well, I mean, they are sisters. But I mean, I don't think she's supposed to sound like that. It's just Julie Kavner's voice just giving up completely. I don't know. Like, people say, The Simpsons is good again. I don't think so. Alpha Maria says, the fact that no man ever came out and said he got a blowjob from the Hawk Tuah girl for clout really says everything. Yes, dare I say, she does not give blowjobs very often at all. I think this is all an elaborate scam. Okay, I'll give you another minute or so to say your last pieces. Valentinus of the Forest asks, what advice would you give for somebody who is interested in classical studies but does not know where to start or who to trust on these matters? I mean, if you're talking like, classical studies as in Greeks and Romans, honestly, the way I got started was I just started doing wiki walks on like, Socrates and Plato and Aristotle and things. There are translations you can find for free, so just start there. Valentinus of the Forest says this podcast is too cultured to understand sometimes. Well, much like Orson Welles, I adore the highbrow and the lowbrow. So I reference, Homer's Odyssey and Iliad, and then I make jokes about the Hawk Tuah girls. So, I'm there. I go here and there and everywhere. I don't care for the midwits, but I love the dimwits and the highwits. Hey, this is what I'm into, so, deal with it. Okay, so on that note, I'm apparently too cultured. I will kind of end things now for Larsen Halleck. This has been Larsen Halleck. All of you have a good day.